life.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome from wonderful Bradford. This is another podcast from our Girlington, and today we have a very special guest with us. We have Sister Abeer Zayyad, the archaeologist and head of Islamic Heritage, direct from Jerusalem, and we are going to be talking about the importance of Al-Aqsa. My name's Akif, and I'm standing in for our regular host Barbara today, who's landed me in at the last minute, but I will deal with him later. And as ever, we have our esteemed Imam of Masjid Umar, Maulana Sajid. Assalamu alaikum, Maulana Sajid. How are you?
Walaikum salam. Walaikum salam. How are you? Are you all okay?
Yes, well, as well as it could be by landing this on me last minute. But anyway, it's a very important topic today. And I'll be honest with you, it's one that I know a little bit about, but it'll be interesting to hear opinions of yourself, who has travelled to the Holy Land, and of Sister Abeer as well. And I've got some questions that I've lined up, which hopefully Sister will be able to answer and give us a first-hand perspective of not only the importance of Al-Aqsa, but life in Jerusalem and in the occupied territories themselves. Sister, I'm just going to kick off with just a little bit about yourself. So can you tell me, what is your role as an archaeologist and the head of Islamic Heritage? What exactly do you do?
My job now as in the Islamic Heritage is to check on a lot of documents that no one had studied before, which is connected with the Islamic Waqf inside Jerusalem, and try to organize it, know what it is speaking about, and to publish it after that. The Islamic Heritage itself, this department was closed for a while. So now it's a new opening for it, and I hope that we will be able to do something new in Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Mashallah,
but as an archaeologist, I'm trying. As an archaeologist in Jerusalem, I'm trying to study all the sites that Israel excavated and to see what their narrative, what they are saying, and to study it and to answer and to put our narrative for these archaeological places. Israel all the time tried to use the archaeology for political things to try to prove that they was in Jerusalem before 3,000 years ago and that they have the right to be in Jerusalem. And our work is to check these things that they go out in the media and speak about it, to study it, and to say what is correct, what is not correct, what is the connection of these stuff with Judaism, if it's connected or not, what is connected with us as a Palestinian, what is connected with us as a Muslim or as a Christian.
MashaAllah, so it's very, very important work that you're doing out there. Just for the layman and just for the person, sort of casual person who's dropped in and watching the podcast, could you tell us what the significance is of Masjid al-Aqsa to Muslims ourselves?
The significance of Al-Aqsa Mosque to ourselves, it's in first and the most important things is Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, which just was before a few days. Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj is connected completely with Al-Aqsa Mosque. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have the ability to make the Mi'raj for our Prophet from Mecca, but he chose to make it from Jerusalem to connect it us as a religion with this place. This is first. Second, that the prayer itself, we as a Muslim, when we start to pray, it was our first Qibla. So this is the second important thing for us in the Aqidah. The third thing, that this is the third mosque and is important in Islam, and this is mentioned in the Hadith al-Sahih. لا تشد الرحال إلا إلى 3 مساجد. So Al-Aqsa Mosque is mentioned at the third mosque. So it's not haram, it's not have the haram character like Medina or Mecca, but it's important. And also it's the second house that had been put in for God, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the whole world. Hadith al-Sahih say that the first house, it was Al-Kaaba, and the second house, it was Al-Aqsa. So this is make it very important for us as a Muslim. This is the aqidah for us. It's not the building, it's the land itself. So each inch inside this area of Al-Aqsa Mosque is important for us as a Muslim, the same. So this is what is the significance of the place for us as a Muslim.
Thank you so much.
MashaAllah, Sister Abeer, it's nice having you on the program. And MashaAllah, Sister Abeer was one of our tour guide in Masjid Al-Aqsa when we went from Masjid Umar here, 14 of us, 2 years ago. And MashaAllah, the knowledge she has is phenomenal. May Allah Ta'ala accept her efforts and her sacrifices. And whoever goes to Masjid Al-Aqsa, I always say, please meet Sister Abeer, and she will, tell you a lot and teach you a lot of things. And we're very privileged to have you here today on our podcast. And
Thank you. Jazakallah khairan for this.
Masjid Al-Aqsa, I think Sister Abeer, and I think all the Palestinians know, is very close to all the Muslims, and we love Masjid Al-Aqsa. We love the Palestinians. Allah Ta'ala has blessed this land, and Allah Ta'ala has blessed the people around Masjid Al-Aqsa. So you guys are very honored. So we feel privileged when we get the opportunity to go to Masjid Al-Aqsa. And so just talk about Masjid Al-Aqsa. When you go to Masjid Al-Aqsa, every part of it beautiful. But what is the oldest thing in Masjid Al-Aqsa that you've discovered?
It's not what I've discovered. It's before I've been even born.
Yeah.
Everybody know that the oldest things inside Al-Aqsa Mosque is 3 places inside Al-Aqsa: Bab al-Rahma, and under the Qibli Mosque and Al Buraq Mosque. These areas are the oldest archaeological remains that we have it inside Al-Aqsa Mosque, and it's go back for almost 2,000 years ago, which give you that these things was exist in the time of living of Zakaria alayhi salam and Yahya alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam in Jerusalem. And you know that they lived, especially Yahya and Zakaria alayhim salam, they lived all their life inside Jerusalem. So when you see these things and you pass from it or just look at it, you know that these places had been seen by these prophets. And it's exactly like what it was in their time. So when you see, just you have this feeling of connection with these prophets, and just to imagine that you are looking exactly to the same thing that this prophet was looking for it before 2,000 years ago. It's amazing. It's not something that you can find it in other places in the world. You can't stand on in front of something, just the Kaaba. The other thing in the whole world, when you look, none of these things you say this prophet was standing here and look into this or pass from here. So this is the amazing and the difference and the feeling that you have it when you are in these places inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
And Sister Abeer, sorry, Akif. Baba Rahma, mashallah, we witnessed the history, because 2 years ago when we were there, after 16 years, it opened, and mashallah, we were there to mark that history as well. So it was a very, we were blessed to be part of that celebration and that happy day, because obviously Masjid Al-Aqsa is under occupation, and unfortunately, when you go to Masjid Al-Aqsa now, the doors, whoever hasn't been at the gates of Masjid Al-Aqsa, on the outside are the Israeli soldiers. So, sometimes they ask you to recite Surah Fatiha, or they ask you if you're Muslim. So then you're allowed to go in. And so, we should pray that Allah Ta'ala frees Masjid Al-Aqsa from the hands of these people. So, Sister Abeer, how's life like in Jerusalem, especially with COVID, and just generally every day for Palestinians? We always hear that, especially under occupation, life is difficult. Is life different for people in Jerusalem and people in the West Bank, or how is life like for the Palestinians?
The life in Jerusalem is different than the West Bank or Gaza, that we are in daily touch with Israel. A daily touch with the Israel police, with the army. In daily, we can be attacked any moment while we are walking in the street. Any moments, the houses can be demolished or you kicked out from your home. So this is make our life all the time attention. It's make us all the time ready for fighting, ready for example, ليلة الإسراء والمعراج. People was at Damascus gate after Al-Isha pray. Without any notice, they attacked the people at Damascus gate. They start throwing a gas bomb, start beating them, and after 10 minutes, the people gather again and sit in the Damascus gate in Bab al-Amud like if there nothing happened. So this is the thing in Jerusalem, that all the time we have things, but after a few minutes you will see the things like if there is nothing. So we become used on this, but it's too much, it's too hard. For example, 500 family, 500 person from Sheikh Jarrah area are going to evacuated from their homes. 88 house in Bustan area have demolition order. It can be happen any moment. So on daily basis, we have family that are losing their houses. On daily basis, we have children are arrested or beating. Women's any guy going out from the mosque can be arrested. Each week, we have a few of us are abandoning from entering to the mosque, which is the most hardest thing on us to be abandoning from entering inside the mosque. The mosque is our life, and we grow up inside the mosque. So to abandon from entering the mosque is too hard on us, and this has happened. Some people now are abandoning for years from entering to the mosque, and they are living just a few meters from the mosque. So our daily life, it's hard, especially the people who are living inside the old city. Of course, there are other areas like Al-Asawiya, Mukhayyam Shafat, Silwan. All of these areas are facing hard time, but especially the old city, it's difficult now. While we are speaking, the settler is making like a festival for them around the gates of Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they are attacking the people in the street. And just a few minutes ago, they arrested my cousin after they beat him in the street. So this is our daily life in Jerusalem.
That is so sad to hear, and it's just one of the things that we don't appreciate living so far away. I just want to break off there. For those of you watching, if there's anyone who wishes to ask a question to Sister Abeer here, you can post a comment in either underneath the YouTube or Facebook, and we will put those to the Sister throughout the duration of the program. Just a quick question that I wanted to ask, just to be clear, and just going back to Al-Aqsa for a minute. Sister, could you just tell us the difference between the Al-Aqsa Masjid and the Dome of the Rock itself? Because sometimes people don't understand the difference between the two things, because they tend to be on one site itself.
Al-Aqsa Mosque is the whole land, the 144 dome hectare. The Dome of the Rock is just a building inside Al-Aqsa Mosque. So inside Al-Aqsa Mosque, we have hundreds of buildings. But the Dome of the Rock is the oldest Islamic building inside Al-Aqsa Mosque. And it's the most beautiful. So it's more famous between the people. So we hear sometimes some people say, no, if we put the picture of the Dome of the Rock, no, this is not Al-Aqsa. No, it's Al-Aqsa. It's part from Al-Aqsa. It's like any other building inside Al-Aqsa Mosque. Al-Aqsa Mosque, it's a land, not a building. So this is very important to understand it. But it is said that the Dome of the Rock is the oldest Islamic building, not only inside Al-Aqsa Mosque, it's the oldest Islamic building in the whole world that is still exactly like it was built.
And I think, Sister B, that's a very important point, because a lot of people, they see the Dome of the Rock and they just have that vision, that's it. And especially the people that haven't been there, inside Al-Aqsa complex, there are many masajids, and you know better. Is it 6, 7 masjids inside Masjid Al-Aqsa itself? So it's the whole complex.
Yes, we have around 6 musalla, but the whole area is Masjid. This is why when you go there, you find a problem to find a bathroom, because the bathroom is supposed to be outside of the boundary of the mosque. So the 144 hectare, there is no bathroom inside it. The bathroom is supposed to be outside of this space, which all of it is Al-Aqsa Mosque. So Al-Aqsa Mosque, it's a land. The buildings is just an addition, but the important for us is the land itself. So it does not matter. Sometime last few months, some of Zionists had say that why we does not just take the Dome of the Rock for the Muslims and put it in another place, and we take the place. So it's not important the building itself. The important for us is the ground, the the land itself. This is what is important for us. Of course, the Dome of the Rock is important from archaeological point of view, but not from religion point of view. From religion point of view, the whole area is important for us. Each centimeter, if inside the Dome of the Rock or inside the Qibli or inside any musalla, exactly like the one that outside of the musalla.
Sister Abeer, that's a very important point. So why are the Zionists claiming Al-Aqsa as theirs? And I know the plans that they have. Can you explain to the viewers why they say it belongs to them?
They say that before 3,000 years ago, that Sulaiman alayhi salam had built a temple for Jew there. So because of this saying, they say that they was there before 3,000 years ago, and that after that it was destroyed and they rebuilt it many times. And at the end, we as a Muslim, we came and we take the land and we build on top of it. So it's belong for them, as they say. Of course, from archaeological point of view, there was no building before the time of Roman. So there is nothing from archaeological point of view connected the place with Sulaiman alayhi salam or Dawood alayhi salam, or even any Jewish or Judaism before the time of Roman. In the time of Roman, yes.
Sister Abeer, sorry, can I just ask a question? So the Jews pray at the Western Wall, do they not? Is that not, you're saying that there's no evidence that there was a temple there and
No, the Western Wall, it's a building, it's the wall itself, which we call it El Buraq first.
okay.
So the correct name for it is El Buraq. So El Buraq Wall is part from the Roman building. So even the UNESCO have a statement about that, and they say that this wall is belong for us as a Muslim. And also there was a court in 1929, a national court about the wall, which say that it's belong for the Muslim and it's Islamic waqf. And we have the right from national law to allow or not to allow for them to pray there. It's Islamic waqf, it's Al Buraq wall, and it does not have anything with Sulaiman alayhi salam. In 1967, they entered to that area. They demolished the whole building, which was in the yard there. And there's picture proof that when they demolished the houses, there's some people was inside the houses, and they demolished the houses on top of their head, and they take that place and they make the yard to pray. Of course, they are praying in the direction of the Dome of the Rock from all over Jerusalem, not only from Al Buraq wall. So, from archaeological point of view, there is nothing. Not only inside Al Aqsa Mosque, in whole Jerusalem and whole Palestine, there is nothing proof that Judaism or Bani Israel was in Palestine before 3,000 years ago. For building Al-Aqsa itself, the oldest archaeological building is go for a person, his name is Herodotus. Herodotus, he was a Domian Palestinian person that was forced to become a Jew when he was a kid. And he built a building in the place of Al-Aqsa Mosque for all religion, not only for Judaism. And this building, it was built for only 19 years and it was destroyed. And the place stayed destroyed till the Muslims religion arrived to Jerusalem in 636. And the Muslim build the place, and they start use it as an Aqsa mosque since that time till today. So you can't compare 19 years with 1,400 years. This is first. Second, that the person who built it himself, he's a Palestinian, and he's the same ethnic of us, not from Bani Israel. Third, that it was built for all religion in Jerusalem, not only for Judaism, and is not connected with the main thing that they built all their narrative on it, which is that Sulaiman alayhi salam has built it. I know that some people, especially us as a Muslim, would say, no, Sulaiman alayhi salam was living in Jerusalem and he built something and stuff like that. Just to say, even if Sulaiman alayhi salam was in Jerusalem or in Palestine, but he was not in the time that they give it as the Jewish give it. The Zionists and the Judaism say that Sulaiman alayhi salam was before 3,000 years ago in Jerusalem. But the Quran very clear that Sulaiman had met the Queen of Saba, and the Queen of Saba had lived. Saba kingdom itself is established 700 BC, so it's not in the same period of history that is given by Judaism.
That honestly has opened my eyes up a little bit, and I thank you for that, because you learn something new all the time. Tab, did you wanted to come in with a question from a viewer?
Yes, we've got a question from somebody. Can you please ask Sister Abeer that which part of Aqsa she mainly works in?
My office is next exactly to Bab al Malik Faisal, King Faisal door. This is where is my office, if this is the question, because I'm working on the whole Aqsa Mosque, but my office is exactly next to King Faisal Gate.
And they're also asking what privileges did she get in Palestine and what are the disadvantages?
The main thing that we are happy about it is just to be inside the Aqsa Mosque and to be blessed to grow up inside the Aqsa Mosque. This is the main thing that we are blessed with it. And we as a people, especially who lived and grew up in the old city, we believe that, or we think that God created us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created for us for protecting and serving Al-Aqsa Mosque. And we does not imagine our life without it. Of course, other part of our life is not something nice to grow up in a situation that you are in danger all the time. The first time I remember that was a gun in my head by one of the Zionists, I was almost 9 years old. This is the oldest memory for having a gun in my head. So as a person that grew up in the old city, I face a lot of things that you can't imagine, like kidnapping my brother, like beating, like taking off my headdress many times, like being broken my hand, being in jail, being in isolation, all the things that you can imagine. We just go through it. So it's not a life that we wish it to anyone, and we does not wish it to any child to see what we have seen in our childhood. But in the same time, all of this is not important, as important to be growing up inside the mosque and to see the mosque every day.
Sister Abeer, and this is to you as well, Sajid. You've spoken there, and you've said that it is dangerous out there, and people are suffering. But what about us travellers from Britain? I mean, I know after the COVID and everything has settled down, if we want to travel out there, is it safe for us? And would you recommend us coming out there? Well, Sajid has been out there, and I haven't, and inshallah, one day I hope to go. But you make it sound like a really dangerous place with guns and things.
You need to understand something, that Israel are very, very good with the people that are coming from outside. They like to deal with the Muslims that are coming from outside in very nice way, and to give them a feeling that there is nothing. They are very good with the Muslims, but we are the problem. Of course, most of the time they do this, but sometime when something happened in the mosque, some of our friends that are coming from UK, they make mistake. You as a person coming from outside, you can't be involved in the problem that's happening inside the mosque, because you does not know how to deal, not with the beating, not with the jail, not with the investigation. So even if you see something and from inside you want to do something, does not do it. Listen to us when we say to you, does not involved, stay far, because we as a Palestinian, we deal with this, and we need you as a Muslim to come. So when you are involved in something that happened, they will be abandoning you from coming, and we need you to come. So normally, and most of the time, 90% of the time is very safe. Just does not involve in the thing that it's happened. Sometimes I myself, I'm thankful for a person which I does not remember whom he was, that he helped me once, because I was in the mosque and there was a problem, and we asked all the brothers from UK to go to Marwani area, and after everything finished, even myself, I was heading. So I go out, and one of brother from UK from far start shouting my name, and I don't know why he was calling. So I look at him. The thing that he was seeing, that one of the snipers was want to shoot me, and I was not seeing that. So when I move my face, the sniper shoot me in the rubber bullet, which is come in my hair, and this is to protect me from losing my eye or being killed. So I don't know which person he was, but I'm thankful for him that he noticed that and he called my name. But normally, please does not involve in anything that is happening inside.
Well, and on Saturdays, from your point of view, you visited Alexa. I mean, what was the treatment like at the airport? Was there much hassle? I mean, because I'm not trying to put people off. I'm trying to encourage people to go. So it's good to have first-hand knowledge. And Sister Abeer's insight there is also really good. From your perspective, traveling over, well, how did you find the airport and security? Because I've heard horror stories, but others say it's fine and you go through as is.
The first time before we went, you always hear these stories that you're gonna be at the checkpoint and you're gonna be checked and all the security. And the first time we went via Jordan, and we crossed the Jordanian border into Al-Aqsa. And I was thinking it was some like American Mexico border. There's not going to be nothing there, and well, it was like a proper, terminal building. So it had all the shops, everything. So you can buy something, you can eat something. So the only thing was that they held some of the youngsters back from our group. So and they just interrogated them again and again, same question, just repeating. And alhamdulillah, they had nothing upon them, but it just to make us wait there for 6 7 hours. So we just waited at the border. And again, the last two times I've been, we went direct into Tel Aviv. So you can get a cheap ticket. And I was saying this in my Jummah khutbah on Friday, that the last trip that we done £500 all in, all our flights, hotels, the ziyaras, everywhere, everything. And then even on the way back, we went to the Blue Mosque in Istanbul in £500. £500 sometimes you can't even get to London and back. Do you understand? And so the second time I went, we did it within £300 all in. So the tickets, EasyJet direct to Tel Aviv, you can sometimes get them £70 80 return. And the thing is, at the airport, they will stop you. They'll just want to harass you in sense that there are no guns, nothing. It's just more of they'll repeat the question, what are you doing here? Where are you going to go? What's the point of you coming? Then they'll say, go and sit back outside. after a little while they'll call you back in and they'll say, "Well, so what do you do in the UK, and what do you think about ISIS or whatever?" And we say we've got no links with all these. We've got bigger issues in Girlington of drugs and all these other things. And so then that's it. And then they just keep you for maximum 3 to 4 hours. But I was saying to the group that we went the last couple of times that just think you're waiting for 3 4 hours here, and you're in the comfort of a terminal building, water, whatever else. You've got your friends, so you can have your gup shop. You've got your phones. You can play on your phones, whatever. But just think of the Palestinians when they're waiting at checkpoints just to go to school. They're held there for hours. Or if a woman's pregnant and she's expecting a child, sometimes she's given birth at the checkpoint because the Israelis don't allow them to go to the hospital. So what is that compared? We're comfortable in every kind of way. And so if you psych yourself up and you're prepared mentally, then there's nothing to it. That's the only hassle you get. Apart from that, once you're in, like Sister Beard said, it's very important, especially from the UK. Remember, what the Palestinians deal with and how they deal with the Israelis is different. We are British citizens, so we've got some kind of protection. And also, I always say Allah's given us a red passport, and sometimes this is a blessing in disguise that we here in the UK can visit Palestine. So at least when the Palestinians see us, they get heart that Muslims are coming, and when we see them, we give them heart that, mashallah, we do dua for them because, like Sister B said, the biggest honor for them is guarding Al-Aqsa. They're doing the guarding on our behalf. So let's not spoil their job. And the thing is, how they deal with the cat and mouse on the ground is different. For us, we should just respect the law, just go there, pray our namaz, just listen to our guys, what they say, and just stay out of trouble. Why? If we get into trouble, we're gonna get blocked. They won't allow us back in, and it'll be harder for other people coming from the UK, and they'll make it. They'll reject people, and that's what we don't want. So we've got a certain responsibility, which we've got to do. And as long as we do that, we'll enjoy our trip. And alhamdulillah, the people I took in the last 2 trips, they've enjoyed themselves because they were mentally prepared. And you just got to be mentally prepared. And like I said, we enjoy, everything. And look at Sister B saying at the age of 9, a gun pointing to her head. These are things that we watch on the TV. Do you understand? So what we should do when we go, we should know that we're going, alhamdulillah, to pray at Al-Aqsa, the virtues of Al-Aqsa, and we should do our responsibility, and that's to stay out of trouble, go there and not make life difficult for the Palestinians or for anybody else. Stay out of trouble. Like Sister B said, sometimes when they tell us to go and hide to one side or go underneath the masjid, go in a safe place when there is a bit of trouble, then just listen to the instructions. Main thing, follow instructions, follow orders of the Palestinians because they know better how to play the cat and mouse game. We don't. And that's it. Otherwise, I tell you, don't think it's like every time there's guns and there's fighting. There's none of that. Alhamdulillah, you can go there, you can pray in peace, and I don't want people to go with this picture because, like I said, the first time I was thinking, oh, there's going to be guns or this, that, the other. Alhamdulillah, I've taken family, I've gone with friends, young guys, everybody, and they've all enjoyed because, Alhamdulillah, you can enjoy yourself. Just stay out of trouble. Don't try to, stir up trouble. Don't try to act cocky. Don't, get in the face of Israeli soldiers. Let them do their jobs. You're here for a reason which Allah Ta'ala has chosen you for, and you do your job.
Exactly. Thank you for that, Brother Zayyad. I'm happy you've cleared a few things up there. Just quickly, and I just wanted to ask this as well. Sister Abeer, you do tours out there, and you obviously took Milan Sardis around. If someone was to come over on a tour, what sort of things, where would you take them? What sort of the highlights we could expect if we were to visit Al-Aqsa and the surrounding areas?
Since 2010, I'm just doing a free tour guide for Al-Aqsa Mosque and Jerusalem. I take it as a mission for myself to do these tour guides as a kind of serving to Al-Aqsa Mosque. So normally I do not go with the tours to other places, especially in Ramadan, because I spend all my time in Ramadan with the groups inside Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem to try as much to teach them about the mosque. The main problem that we are facing inside Jerusalem and inside Al-Aqsa Mosque, that a lot of tour guides are not qualified, or they are qualified but with the Israel narrative. So it's very important to give the correct knowledge. And since 2010, after Israel had attacked me directly, and they put my picture and my information to be killed in that time because of my tour guide, I decide to make it free. I know how much it's hard for them, these kind of tour guides, and even in the article that they write it against me, they say that the danger that I make it, that I'm giving the correct information for the people, which they do not want the people to know it. Even someone he write here that they know that what I am saying is correct, and but they do not want the Muslims to learn it. So from that time till today, I'm doing my tour inside Al-Aqsa Mosque and inside Jerusalem for free as a kind of serving for the mosque itself. Each one of us in Jerusalem serve the mosque in a different way. So this is my way to serve.
MashaAllah, bless you, sister. And I guess every person who's been on those tours appreciates the efforts that you're going through. Just a quick question about your role and your job, especially as an archaeologist. What's the sort of most exciting artifact that you've come across that you thought, oh wow, this is something that is really rare, something that you've come across that you really wanted to share with the world? Have you come across anything like that in Al-Aqsa or the surrounding areas, linked to either history or linked to the Islamic religion?
Look, inside the Aqsa Mosque and inside Jerusalem, there are a lot of places that you and a lot of things that you would like to share it. But which is something special that once I found it inside the Aqsa Mosque, it's a coin with the picture of Salah ad-Din with the son of Nur ad-Din Zinki, which is a very rare coin. And it exists in the Islamic Museum inside the Aqsa Mosque, but till now they does not put it in place that people can see it. So this coin was hidden in some trash, and I just found it and studied it. So this coin, one of the things that I would like the people outside to see it and to be putting in the museum and the picture of Salah ad-Din on it. I think it will be interesting for all the people around, especially that with the his picture with the son of Nur ad-Din Zinki, which both of them had worked hard to have liberation for Al-Aqsa Mosque, and which is also Salah ad-Din himself is a lesson for us that he done a lot of mistakes when he was youth, and at the end he was able to become our hero and to have liberation for Al-Aqsa Mosque. And when you study about Salah ad-Din, you just have the lesson that you can make mistake, and at the end you can be also hero. So each one of us can do mistake, but the important is to continue on your goal and to concentrate on your goal and to grow up and to do this dream and to work for your dream. And this is what had happened with Salah ad-Din, with all the mistake that he done it when he was a youth, but at the end he become the hero that after all these years we are still speaking about him. So this is one thing that it was interesting for me, but also in the whole Jerusalem, in each museum in Jerusalem, you will find things which is very interesting and which will change your point of view about the history of Jerusalem and the situation and the life in Jerusalem through history.
MashaAllah. I mean, sometimes we forget that other than the prophets, that there were so many heroes that came after. Just another question from me then. So, other than the Al-Aqsa compound itself, if there's one other place that I should visit in Jerusalem, where else should I visit? What would be the second after Al-Aqsa? Where else should I visit? According to your view.
Of course, each one who come to Jerusalem, the main thing that they go at first, Al-Aqsa Mosque. Second, it will be the Holy Sepulchre Church, which is also important to see it. Even if you are not Christian, but even that you will go to see it. But also, a lot of Muslims go to Masjid Umar. And also to Khanqa Salahiyya, where the Salah ad-Din has sit when he was or live when he was in Jerusalem. This is the main places that they go. But each time when you come to Jerusalem, each time you can see a different place in Jerusalem. Jerusalem had a lot of places that I think that a lot of Muslims till now did not go to it, like the Castle of Jerusalem, which is an amazing Islamic building, the wall itself of Jerusalem. Underneath of the wall, there is a lot of a museum, a lot of places which take you to a different history of Jerusalem. There is a lot of schools that was built in the time of Mamluk, and it just give you also view about the teaching in history of Islamic, because a lot of people think that this kind of new that in Europe or some country that they are you as a student, the government will give you money to be able to continue your studying, not only the fees. No, they give you money for that. This system was exist in Palestine at 1400. In that time, you can imagine as a student, you does not need to work. You just go to study, and the school will give you money to support your family. So you will not worry about your family while you are studying. So you can imagine the system that was exist in that time. And not only this for Islamic study, there was mathematics, there was science, to become a doctor. All these college was exist inside Jerusalem, and all of it was for free, and all of it was supporting the student while are studying. And you can finish from one college and move to another one and to continue studying. Even if you spend all your life studying, they will continue supporting you. So imagine this was the system, and this was the importance of studying in that time of Islamic history. And I think as a Muslim, we lost this passion about studying, and how much is important the studying in all fields, which is make us great. And we just forget this. So and we think that just the European that they start this kind of idea to support. No, it's an Islamic program, Islamic thought. But we as a Muslim, we left our thought, and we did not continue what we was doing before 1,000 years.
Sister Abeer, mashallah, I recommend to everybody, whoever goes to Palestine, to take a tour with yourself. And I remember when we went into the Dome of the Rock, and you mentioned even the pillars, that there were five particular pillars, one for each Salah, and the five pillars of Islam. And so it's like minute details like that. And you think, wow, like how Muslims thought, you know, years ago, like, you know, some the mathematicians, in physics, in every other ways, yeah, and how far ahead they were. And it's amazing, and you only appreciate it, especially when you learn the history of Al-Aqsa and the surrounding buildings and how they were made, and especially the Dome of Rock, the shape that it has. Can you just tell us a bit about that, Sister Abeer?
First, the Dome of the Rock was built by Abd al-Malik bin Marwan. The architecture was Raja ibn Haywa, mainly architecture for the building. The number is just for explanation. We does not know exactly if they built it because of this reason or not. But it's an octagon building, and we in the Quran there is ayah say وَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانٍ. So from this ayah, it's giving the number of 8. It's have four gates with which is four season. It have 12 pillars, 12 month. The number of the window inside the Dome of the Rock is the number of the week in the year. But the Ottoman after that they add two window for Dome of the Rock. When you enter from any gate, you will see five columns, and the foundation of Islam is five, and also we pray five times a day. So this is kind of number which help you to understand the building itself. But we does not know if Raja ibn Haywa had thought about that or not. There is a lot of theory how they decide to build it an octagon and why and stuff like that. There is a lot of study about it. Mainly there is an architecture. His name is Haytham Ratrout, had make a book just about all these kind of theory about the building of the Dome of the Rock. But at the end, the Dome of the Rock is amazing building. It was built just in 6 years, which is amazing to be able to build a building like this in that period of time, in this time. And the cost for it was very expensive. It take 8 years of the taxes that are coming from Egypt to be able to build it. And Egypt was the richest country in that time. So it was very, very expensive building, but it's amazing. And there is a lot of beautiful mosaic inside it. And there is each part from the mosaic is not duplicated again. So you have the whole mosaic inside. Each place you look is different than the other, and some of the Quran that are written inside is still exactly from the time of Bani Umayyah, without dots, without haraka, just the basic Arabic language, which was the first Quran was written in that way.
And Sister Beer, what about just to be about Hebron and Masjid al Khalil and the family of Ibrahim alayhi salam?
Yes, people does not like in Hebrew what I'm saying, but from Islamic point of view, the only prophet that we know his tomb is our prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. So the tombs inside El Ibrahimi Mosque, we does not know to whom they are belong, but they are almost 2,000 years ago, and we does not have anything in our religion to say that Ibrahim alayhi salam was in Hebron or that he was buried there. It's an Israel story, Judaism story. And if you go there, you will notice that there is a tomb for Sarah, not tomb for Hajar, tomb for Ishaq, not tomb for Ismail. So the whole story is depend on the Torah, not in Islam. And the story also say that the desert that Ismail alayhi salam was living in, and that he built a building with his father Ibrahim alayhi salam, it was in Beersheba, not in Mecca. So the whole story is different than our story in Islam. But people say that, and they continue going to the place. At the end, it's a beautiful building, was built before almost 2,000 years ago, and it's important mosque, and it's amazing mosque. And that's it. But we can say not only about Prophet Ibrahim, all the other places in Palestine that they will say for you, this is the tomb of this prophet, or a maqam for this prophet. There is nothing. The only prophet that we are sure 100% from his tomb is our prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. The other prophet that we have, let's say 70%, we know where his tomb from archaeological point of view is Zakaria alayhi salam, and it's in Jerusalem. And sorry to say that none of our Muslim go to visit this tomb, which is more stronger than the tomb of Ibrahim alayhi salam in Hebron. Always I say, when you say any story about any prophet, go back to Quran, go back to Sunnah. If you does not have information in Sunnah or in Quran about this issue, about this story, about this prophet, does not take it. We are Muslim. We supposed to stuck with Islam, with Quran, with Sunnah, and after that, if we have archaeological evidence, we will take it. But Without archaeological evidence, without something in the Quran, without something in the Sunnah, we does not know.
Thank you for that insight, and inshallah, if I ever do make the trip, I'll definitely visit the of Zakaria first. Just one last
Inshallah.
question. And a few years ago, this happened. The Israeli government started doing some archaeological digs underneath the Al-Aqsa compound. What was that about, and have they all stopped now? Could you give us a bit of insight into that?
The first digging, it starts underneath of Al-Aqsa Mosque. It was in the British occupation period.
Okay.
So since that period, it stopped from 1948, and it starts again in 1967. So all this time they try to dig underneath of the mosque, and they never stop. And till now they are trying to dig tunnels. All their goals is to find archaeological evidence to say that they was there before 3,000 years ago. But till today, the only thing that they was able to find it underneath of the mosque is going back to Roman time. Nothing older than that. In other area in Jerusalem, they found archaeological evidence go back to 10,000 years ago, which is when Jerusalem started as a village in Silwan. But till today, even in Silwan, from 10,000 years ago till today, they did not find any archaeological evidence to prove that they was there. Even the place that they call it City of David, it's a Canaanite village, a Canaanite city, and they say that this is the city that David occupied it. So they does not have any proof about the occupation of David to the city, but the city itself, it's go back to Canaanite, which is the Palestinian. So there is no archaeological evidence at all. And all the stamps that they found it in the writing, which is Canaanite language. And you know that Israel had taken the letters from Canaanite language to the Hebrew language. So even if it's similar to the Hebrew language, but the Hebrew language had taken the red letters from the Canaanite language, not the opposite.
I can see why you are unpopular with the Israelis then, because every time they try to find something, you debunk it for them, which is brilliant for us, mashallah. I mean, we can only thank you for the work and effort that you're putting in, and staying steadfast in all the issues you see there, you know, to keep the site safe for the rest of the ummah. Well, Sajid, I don't know if you want to finish off with something.
Yeah, Sister Abeer, lately, especially in the international community, we're seeing that some Muslim countries, they're recognizing Israel and they're trying to keep relationships. How are you feeling, the Palestinians feeling about this this betrayal? You know,
We feel like when someone stamp you, you know, when someone put a knife in your back. They say that because the Palestinians have a connection with Israel or a peace agreement with Israel, it's okay to have a peace agreement with Israel. No, you does not need an agreement with Israel to take your mom to hospital. You does not need agreement with Israel to be able to move or to be able to go to university or to live. We are in a different situation. We are under the occupation. It's completely different. You can't compare yourself with us. It's a different issue. But when you, as a brother for us, start dealing with Israel like if they are very good and very nice, like what the Emirates is doing, and dealing like if Israel are the most peaceful land in the world, and when you hear them speaking about that, and even saying that they want to have a sharing praying inside Aqsa Mosque between the Emirat and the Jew inside the mosque, it just makes us feeling like we become crazy. We can't understand how they are Muslim and how they are accepting to become part from the occupation, to become part from killing us. This is what we are feeling. We are feeling so bad about that. We can't accept it. And to say the truth, that most of Palestinians, especially in Jerusalem, had lost hope in all the Arab community. We still believe in Muslims who are not Arab, to say the truth. We does not mean the people themselves. We mean the government. But we believe with that the Muslim themselves, especially who are out of these government in other places, that they have their own mind and that they still have the believing and the understanding of the importance of Al-Aqsa. Even now, we hear some of these people who are trying to make peace with Israel saying that Al-Aqsa Mosque is not Al-Aqsa Mosque and it's the right of the Jew to have it, and that we are bad that we does not allow for Jew to pray inside it. So when you think about that, and when you think about how many people we lost for it, or just to remember one of our friend when he was shot in his head and die inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and after that someone say that we are doing wrong and that we are the bad people. How we can be the bad people? We lost our families, we lost our friends, we lost our houses. We see our friends killing in front of us, and at the end you say that they are very good and peaceful and we are the bad. This is something that we can't understand it, and it's very hard to hear that from a Muslim people. It's very hard to hear from any Muslim to say that about us.
I think, Sister B, we share your grief, because I think the whole Muslim world, especially when these Muslim governments they recognize Israel, it is a stab in the heart for the Muslim Ummah and the Palestinians. Because the thing is, and somebody quite rightly said last week as well, if somebody's come and robbed and stole a house, how can you be friends with them, or how can you just have no, it's okay? Do you understand? They are occupiers, they are illegal occupiers of Palestine, and this is Palestine, this belongs to the Palestinians and the Muslim Ummah. And the thing is, we should help and support those people that are defending Masjid al-Aqsa on the behalf of the Ummah, and not, cheat them. And unfortunately, this is what the governments have done. They're cheating the Palestinians and the Muslim Ummah. And like you said, I think all the common people, ordinary people, they feel the anger and the rage, but sometimes we just feel we can't do anything. So that leads me to the point that, Sister Abeer, that before we're hitting 8 o'clock, that what can the Muslim Ummah do, and what can we as an international community do for Masjid Al-Aqsa, for the plight of the Palestinians, the hardships that we go through? What can we do here in the UK as Muslims here in the UK? What can we do?
First, what you are doing now, it's amazing. It's very important to hear the voice of Jerusalem and to give education about Jerusalem and about Al-Aqsa Mosque. Muslims need to have this education, because education is first, number one, to be able to fight, to be able to answer, to be able to speak. Second, that you are all the Muslim, not only in UK. You can protest. You can say something when some things happening inside Al-Aqsa Mosque. Like in 2 weeks, the Judaism will try to sacrifice inside Al-Aqsa Mosque for their Eid. So this is a hard, very hard day it will be on us, and it will take a lot of us to try to protect the mosque in this day. And if they was able to do it this time, we will not be able to stop them in the future. So this kind of thing that Muslims suppose outside to protest, to say no, to put a pressure on their government. The demolition of houses in Silwan, the demolition, evacuating the people from Sheikh Jarrah. You as a Muslim, you can protest outside. You can send letters for your government. So you as a Muslim, you can do a lot of things. And also, when inshallah this virus corona issue finish, you as a Muslim, it's very important to come to Al-Aqsa Mosque. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had tell you how much this place is important. Our Prophet had ordered you to come to visit this place. as a Muslim, you're supposed to come to visit. As much as you go to Mecca and to Medina, you're supposed to come to Al-Aqsa Mosque. We as a Palestinian need you. The mosque need you, and this is the most important. Come and pray inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which this is what we want from you mainly. So you as a Muslim outside, you have a big rule that you can do it and you can support us. And please stuck with also with the pie cutting of Israel, which is important also. Some of you will say when we go to Jerusalem, there we see people buying from Israel products and for American products. We does not have a choice. This is what we have. So, but you have a choice. We under occupation does not compare yourself with us in anything. Our situation is completely different. Our duty is just to survive, just to stay, not to run away. This is our duty. Your duty as a Muslim to support this, to support our staying, to boycott Israel, to protest for Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Sister Abeer, thank you so much for your time. Honestly, it's been an education, and it's just been an honor listening to you. And if we can, I'm sure the Masjid Umar here in Bradford, we've organised trips before, and inshallah, I'm sure Malan Sajid will be at the forefront, and inshallah, in the future, at some point, I hope Allah gives us the tawfiq for me to meet you in person, and you can give me a personal tour of Jerusalem. I'm sure Malan Sajid will be with us there. The viewers will have learnt a lot. I've learnt a lot as well, and I can only say that if please keep up your efforts, and whatever small things we can do here, inshallah, the viewers and myself, we will take part. We will do what we can to support you in the Holy Land. Malan Sajid, do you want to finish off?
No, mashallah, Sister Abeer, I'm going to give you a few more to say last word, but listening to you yourself and all the Palestinians, I think, first and foremost, you should always let them know that the whole ummah is with them, supporting them, making dua for them, whatever we can do. Alhamdulillah, here in the UK, the last 2 weeks, the Friends of Al-Aqsa group, they've been raising awareness on YouTube, on all the media sites, and they've had Aqsa Week, and they've done so much, mashallah. Uh, First, I think you've hit the nail on the head that don't say here that we should be mayus, that we will lose hope. No, the Palestinians, look at what they're going through. What we can do, like our sister Abir just mentioned, we can lobby our MPs. We can write letters to our MPs. We can shout. We can raise the awareness. We can educate people. Also, boycotting is very, very important. We have a very strong boycott campaign that takes place. Unfortunately, the non-Muslims are more stronger than the Muslims in boycotting, and we should boycott Israeli products. These are things that we can do in our capacity. At least on the day of Qiyamah, when we're stood in front of Allah and Allah will ask, "What did you do for Masjid Al-Aqsa?" We can say, "Wallah, I'm not Salahuddin Ayyubi, but at least I did this." Do you understand? At least we can present something to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that at least we tried something. And definitely, inshallah, we will try to visit. On Friday in my Jummah khutbah was just about Isra and Mi'raj, and we talked about Al-Aqsa. And at the end, I said to them, inshallah, once the pandemic is over, we will take a group from Masjid Umar, inshallah, at the end of this year, if not beginning of next year, inshallah, we will definitely, if Allah is willing, we will meet, inshallah, in Masjid Al-Aqsa, and we will take a group from Masjid Umar, inshallah, and we will, like you said, for me, the Quran comes alive in Jerusalem, and you see the history, you see how the past, present, future, everything comes alive, and it's amazing, the journey. And there's so much to talk about Al-Aqsa, and you can see the tears in Al-Aqsa itself. That is the neglected haram, we say. We go to Makkah, Medina, but we forget about Al-Aqsa. But Al-Aqsa, like you said, the Prophet was asked about the virtues of Masjid Al-Aqsa, and he said, go and pray in it. And if you can't pray in it, then send oil for the lamps of Al-Aqsa. So first and foremost, we should go and pray in Masjid Al-Aqsa. Alhamdulillah, with the British passport, with the red passport, we have that ability to go and pray. We go Dubai, we go Turkey, we go everywhere else, but we neglect Masjid Al-Aqsa. Unfortunately, we should go and pray in Al-Aqsa. If we can't, let's assist, educate ourselves, and help in any way in campaigns or whatever else we can do boycotting and anything else we can do. The process I emphasize we should assist, and these are the ways that we can assist here in the UK, inshallah. And I think before we wrap up, I'm going to give the last few words to Sister Abeer. Inshallah, please join us the next 2 weeks. We've got podcasts regarding Ramadan. Next week will be more about dieting and how to keep healthy during Ramadan. And the week after, we got about the virtues of Ramadan. So, inshallah, those are the next 2 podcasts. And then we'll probably break up for Ramadan, inshallah. So, stay tuned for next week. I'm going to tell Sister Abeer just to say the last few words, parting words that we can all take some lessons home with us, inshallah.
First, I would just want to say Jazakumullah khairan for all the effort that you are doing in awareness about Al-Aqsa Mosque, and for Friend of Al-Aqsa for all what they are doing. The last message is just one word: does not forget Al-Aqsa Mosque. Keep it in your mind, remember it, and that's it. Just remember Al-Aqsa Mosque, don't forget it.
Shukran, Jazakallah, Sister Abeer.
Poignant words, and on that note, I think we will call it a day. Thank you so much, Sister Abeer, for your time. Monan Sadi, thank you for your insights. Like we said, Brother Barbara will be back next week, and we will be looking at diet. That'll be an interesting one for you, Monan Sadi. I think you need to pay attention to that one a little bit more. But otherwise, I hope you've learned something from the podcast today. I know I certainly have. And like we said, we'll end on that note. Please don't forget, keep them in your thoughts, keep them in your prayers, and inshallah, one day the situation hopefully will get better. Okay, and on that note, assalamu alaikum from everyone at the Al Girlington podcast, and inshallah we will see you next week.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.